So, my plan to go to the ocean has been stopped. There was a police car. So, I feel like in the George Orwell novel 1984, I feel like the big brother is watching my every movement. Some people are happy though, happy-go-lucky. And, I have to put you down, Shelby. So, I've officially found there's a veterinarian here, so my official excuse for being out here is going to the vet. And I realize people are very stressed out, so this is my lesson for today. Some people react in a very stressed out way. They lash out at others. Could be me sometimes too. And especially strangers, the accountability factor is very low when you encounter a stranger because you're never going to see them, so why not lash at them? But the truth is that the ego is here working because nobody likes to be yelled at. Nobody likes to be cursed at. And the incident I had before when a man was cursing me because I wouldn't move, like he wanted me to move rather than him, me with 2 dogs, twice his age. I don't know, but maybe it's my ego. We always find faults in others that are really in us. It's really warm here. I don't know if it's a good thing or not good thing. Some say it's good. They say that the virus is activated. Oh, this is what I look like. See? It's me. Hi. So it's a weird wave. So some people say the warm weather will bring relief, but that hasn't been the case. It's really like 1984 because you have the police supervising if you're 100 meters far from your house. But listen, people, having lived in Europe in a place where laws really dominate, when you are afraid of a fine, getting a very hefty fine for breaking the law, people are going to be scared. Also, there's the fear factor, right? So, I see that somehow you can get coffee here. I am saving on the coffee. I've calculated that if I avoid drinking coffee outside, this is the dog food bill, my monthly dog food bill. That's right. A coffee a day is my monthly dog food bill. So just talking to somebody from far away about people abandoning dogs again. Which is, I don't know about you guys, but if it's giving up my dog or my life, I would give my life for these dogs. They're helpless, innocent souls. They're like so helpless. For me, they're like my children. They're exactly like my children. There's no way I would abandon them for any reason. Financially, I would rather eat bread and butter and not give up my dogs if that's the reason. I just don't see a situation where not paying for dog food would be the matter. And I've realized you don't need to go to the vet. You can count down on costs. Like the vets here charge like a fee. You pay one time a few hundred shekels a year for each dog. And then it includes visits and vaccinations and 10% off medication. Now I realize I don't need that. So, because if something, God forbid, happens, anyway, it's going to be very expensive and I'll have to find a way to pay for it. So usually vets will help you find that way. There's no normal vet that I know that will actually put to sleep an animal that has a chance to live. So what I'm saying is you can cut down a lot of extra costs regarding your dogs and just give them the minimum. At the moment, there are so many vaccinations we give dogs that aren't really, really necessary and are quite expensive. I mean, rabies for me is a must, even though they say that's also not necessary because in the city, the risk is like 0, but less than getting corona, which is also very low. I always insisted on giving rabies vaccination even when I lived in a country that didn't obligate it. But to be quite honest, that's not what's going to change my financial situation. You know, even when you have nothing, there are homeless people who have dogs. So this has become an animal advocacy video. Don't abandon your dogs. In fact, get a dog from a shelter today. Then you can take the dog for a short walk. Nothing is going to happen for you. And you know what? That's going to be your best therapist. Therapy is very expensive, and I rarely believe that therapy that costs a few $100s, a few hundred shekels, is actually necessity. It seems to me quite a luxury. So, but a dog, what they give you every day, what these dogs give you every day is better than any therapist. Because a therapist will charge you a few hundred shekels. With these few hundred shekels, you can pay for your dog to food bill for like 2 months, 3 months. So think about it. There are a lot of good therapists online. One of them is Dr. Ramini, but I'm always very critical of every therapist online, especially since they all seem to have like this popular topic. And nowadays it's narcissism. Everybody's a narcissist. People that break the coronavirus rules are narcissists. I don't know. That's so much more complicated. And when I hear that, I'm a little bit skeptical as to whether therapists can really advise people, because the way they just take a complex human behavior and minimize it to a label. But we're all narcissists to some degree. It depends on how you were raised and the conditions. If you're raised with a sense of entitlement, you will be a narcissist. There's no question. You will not think about other people. And it depends on your personality, DNA. I mean, people in the same family, one can be a narcissist, another can be an empath. Somebody who has a lot of empathy. So I wouldn't say that it's that simple. Narcissist. So a lot of therapists like to talk about one topic. You also have to connect to the therapist. I love Dr. Ramini, even though she talks about narcissism, because she really has a delightful way of describing conditions and letting you know also that you have a choice. She's very supportive. She's very positive. And I don't care what she talks about. I love listening to her. I like her voice. I like her mannerism. Maybe because she's Indian origin. I don't know. She's just delightful. And from all the therapists online, I like Dr. Ramini the best because she seems so genuine, even though she lives in a fake town called LA. She's just so genuine. And like she speaks from her heart. She says things. She doesn't speak from like a high and mighty, I'm a therapist. She speaks to you like a very smart best friend you need. And if I had money to do therapy, I definitely contact her. I'm not trying to push her business. Dr. Phil always seems to me, Dr. Phil is so commercial, and the way he talks to people is so disrespectful. There's nothing nice like he just creates drama. And the whole point of going to therapy is not to have drama. There's drama and there's drama. The kind of drama you don't want in your life, Dr. Phil creates. So I wouldn't recommend him. And there's the therapists that have like a not nice expression, they don't change their facial expressions, or the ones that feel like they don't understand that a therapist's job is not to bombard you with knowledge. I don't need to know the history of Vienna and Freud and the history of ideas. That is another category. When I talk to a therapist, I think it is a teacher, but I want them to teach me how to communicate better with my environment, how to understand myself better. And you don't get that by bombarding somebody with a lot of knowledge. The way a therapist, I think, should talk is a lot of questions and also a lot of empathy. So from all the therapists online, as I said, I like Dr. Ramini. There's another one. I'll get back to you about the name of her name. Sorry. And therapy is about communication, because of course we have these deep-seated reasons why we act out, why we lash out at people, why we become angry, or why we become the opposite, introverted, depressed, not willing to speak. There are a lot of deep-seated reasons for that. However, in therapy, you learn to not like rationalize it and blah, blah, blah. It's because my mother, it's because my father. No, it's understanding how do you feel. And yoga, of course, helps. Any kind of body-centered therapy is really the best for me because you are actually connecting to your emotions. How does this make you feel? Why do you speak like this to your spouse or your children? So therapy for me is all about dissecting communication styles. Because at the end of the day, whatever deep-seated problems you have, it's your interactions with other human beings that makes for your life. And when you are unable to communicate, when you have like sometimes really good intentions, but they're always misconstrued and they come out as screaming and yelling, then you need to think about your communication style, which is where I want to recommend Dr. Ross Rosenberg, who wrote a book called Nonviolent Communication. And I talked to an educational therapist. It's used a lot when dealing with children and families and talking about how we communicate with the family. And to be honest, I'm so far away from my goal of living a harmonious life. And I often blame it on my environment. I live in a big city where people are alienated. But to be quite honest, I know that's not the reason. It's about self-awareness, and it's about expressing myself and being able to be who I am. And sadly enough, I'm not yet in the place, but happily enough, the bright side is that I'm in this process. We're all on a voyage, and there's no mistakes. There's only side tracks, like you're on a journey, and you have to ask yourself, what do I want to achieve today? Today, for instance, I want to feed the dog. Well, she had already breakfast. She eats like a lot. Definitely, it affects her. The stress affects her that she's eating even more. She's always eating like a vacuum cleaner, but now she's eating even more. Or maybe I'm feeding her more as well. I'm going to feed the other dog. The cat already ate. I'm going to go to a store that's relatively inexpensive, and I'm going to get chocolate to make brownies. I'm sorry with all the healthy food we need to eat. I do have vegetables. I do think that brownies were really important for me. I bake these amazing brownies with bitter chocolate with nuts. It already contains the nuts. All you have to do is melt the chocolate, add some oil, eggs, flour. Sorry, vegans. I guess you could do it without eggs. I don't know. But these are scrumptious brownies. I'll try to write down the recipe below. The brownies really help me. I guess I don't take drugs, and for me, the brownies are my drug. I try not to eat them all at once. My son also likes them. They're easy to make, not a lot of time, and they're just my serotonin or whatever hormone in my body that makes me happy. My happy hormone just goes whoop. Also, I exercise. Recommend doing online yoga, especially live sessions. And avoid confrontations. And don't expect people to be cheerful and happy-go-lucky. And whenever you encounter somebody who is nice, then say, oh, it's a blessing. Don't curse. Count your blessings, not your curses, okay? Peace, light, and love from quarantine, Tel Aviv.